for the next 3 hours alongside Colin Kennedy producing. First time working with Colin, and I radioed back to Garvin while we were doing crossover asking for him to choose a Father's Day song. So maybe we'll do Father's Day music today. I think that's the vibe. Colin, how are we doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. You're a little low if you want to turn yourself up. But this is our first time working together. We've only ever really seen each other in passing, so we're going to get to know each other quite well over the next 3 hours. Happy to have you here. I want to wish all of the fathers out there a happy Father's Day, to all the dads that are actually good dads. Also a happy Father's Day to everyone who may have had a dad who passed away, a child who passed away, or if you were like me, you don't have a relationship with your dad, you are a single mom, all of those things, or you're a stepdad. Today is your day too. Happy Father's Day to everyone out there. I want to get the ball rolling on my show today by inviting you all to call in with your favorite sports memories with your dad or your child. I think that would be super fun. If you guys want to do that, it's 617-779-0985. Or if you're a kid and you want to give your dad a Father's Day shout out on the air, let's do that. It's a Sunday in July. You guys can lead the show if you want. That's all good and well with me. We have some fun segments for you guys to chime in coming up as well. I have to say, though, nobody is having a more awkward Father's Day than Tom Brady so far, though. I don't know if anybody else follows Giselle on Instagram, but I do. And she posted a Happy Father's Day recap post. Do we want to call it a recap or whatever, of her new husband with their child and all of their beautiful pictures together. And you know who didn't get anything? Tom Brady. No Happy Father's Day, no shout out to Tom, nothing. But she certainly put it out there for the other kids. So you know what? Happy Father's Day, Tom Brady. This entire city basically calls you dad, so that's chill with me. So yeah, give us a call, 617-779-0985, with all of your favorite Father's Day or sports fathers, whatever memories. Those would be fun to hear. I think that they would be silly. I also don't have the call screener up because I've worked here for 3 years and still don't have a login. So Colin, you're going to have to log in for me during our first commercial, or let me know if anybody calls in until then. I have so much that I want to get to today. World Cup stuff, some World Cup tourism stuff, Patriots stuff. Like I mentioned, we have a fun food segment that we're going to do involving the World Cup, because we were discussing maybe doing a segment from every single show just to pull and have some time to kill in July, or it's not even July yet, June. But I think it's only fair that we start with the Celtics. I have been gone. As you guys know, I went on vacation for 2 weeks and came back and came home right to the World Cup, and haven't shared a ton of my thoughts on all of the things that went down while I was gone. The Giannis development being one of them, the A.J. Brown trade being another. I was preparing for this show and saw that Paul Pierce had entered the chat for the Giannis conversation. Before I play this for you guys, just in case you haven't heard, or you are not up at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning, which I don't blame you. If that was not my show hours, I would not be either. My kind of too long didn't read thoughts on the situation. I think it's insane to get rid of Jaylen Brown in any way, shape, or form. And it does drive me insane that a lot of like the old heads are so mad that he described this as his favorite season that he's ever had, because I've got to be honest, it would be my favorite season that I've ever had too, if I was, finally able to be the player that I know that I'm capable of being, with no distractions, no question marks. This is my team. I'm a leader. I got to the postseason without the guy that everybody around here praises and seems to favorite. And now you guys are going to take me out like last week's trash to the curb. I don't think so. I would also say that would be my favorite season. And the fact that he is, one, so involved in the community here, does so much charity work, loves this city, loves the fans, does these live streams, and people still find ways to complain about him or hate on him or want him to leave town over Jason Tatum. Listen, these two have been incredible together. You can say that they've underperformed together if you would like. I'm not going to do that. I think that if you win a championship, you don't get to say that anybody underperformed once you do that. But I don't think it's fair how a lot of people have treated Jaylen Brown. However, this has been quite a polarizing situation. There are very much people in this town who are Jason Tatum or die, and people in this town who are Jaylen Brown or die. And the fact that this has become such a divisive scenario has been quite frustrating. That being said, I do love sports enough to know and watch sports enough to know when there is a need for a change of scenery. And I do think that Boston needs a change of scenery. As much as the philosophy around here has been, you don't want to break these two up since they were united. I do think that for everyone involved, it is time, unfortunately. Like, something is not perfect in this marriage. And I just think that there could be a more respectable way if, it is Joe Mazzulla's end-all be-all to keep Jason Tatum here. We can do that, and we can have these conversations without being a-holes to a guy that just left blood, sweat, and tears on the court for a team and a city for an entire season, and who, like I mentioned, is so involved with the fans and the community here. We don't need to do this, okay? And I love Giannis. He is and has been my favorite player in the league for the better part of a decade now. I think that he is a great guy. But we do need to talk about how, okay, this change of scenery could be good for everyone involved. But the question becomes, Giannis has been the guy in Milwaukee since he came into the league. And being the guy in a small market like that means that you're a god anywhere and everywhere that you go. I don't want to hear that Christian Yelich is the guy there. Yeah, he is. But it's Giannis's town. It always has been. And until he leaves, and even when he leaves, it might still be to a degree. So what does that look like when he goes somewhere else or comes here? It seems like he's for sure going to Miami. Yahoo Sports, as of earlier today, says that this is pretty much done. So what is that going to look like now? Are the Celtics in? Are they out? Is there a third team? Will there be a third team? Is Jaylen Brown going to be out of here? But the bigger question for me now becomes, okay, let's say that Jaylen Brown is now not involved in this trade and he's going to Miami. How awkward is that going to be here? Because everybody just basically mother effed him out of town.
I don't know if it'd be awkward. The Celtics have an out in that there's been no hard reporting that Jaylen Brown's been included in any of these trades. I still think no matter what, even if Giannis isn't coming to Boston, that he's probably done here. But the Celtics and Brad Stevens do have an out if they wanted to run it back with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
I just don't think you can at this point. I don't think you can.
I don't either. And I'm pulling the trigger on a Giannis deal right now.
You think he's coming here?
I don't know for sure, but I think it's the right move. I think Jaylen Brown was never going to finish his career with the Celtics. It was always probably going to end in a way similar to like this. It usually does in the NBA with a lot of those superstar players. And I just think the value of bringing in a top 5 player in Giannis is too good to pass up.
I think if they can keep Jaylen Brown somehow, which I don't think that they will. I know that the rumors have been that new ownership love Giannis, and that's why they want him here, and everybody loves him, and he's a great player, so why wouldn't you want him here, especially the diversity that he can add to the team? I think it's only a good move if you can keep all three of them together, but since they've been trying to offload payroll since the start, I don't think that that's what's going to happen here. But now it's becoming, okay, this entire city has been sold on Giannis for the better part of a month, 6 weeks now. And some people have come to terms with the fact that that's going to cost Jaylen Brown and other people haven't. And either you're going to get the backlash blow up from that. To me, it sounds like he's going to Miami. After all of the reporting that I've, kind of thumbed through today, it sounds like the Miami deal is what it is. And if I'm a young millionaire who's already won a championship, there are people out there who probably would prioritize winning another championship and solidifying that legacy. But if you know Giannis at all and you followed his story, I think that winning a championship is good enough for him, and going to Miami, not having state income tax, laying on the beach with his kids is good enough for him. That more relaxed lifestyle with no pressure. Miami is not in a situation to win a championship right now, so that takes a load off of his plate. But coming here, this is title town. I've lived here for almost a decade now, and the expectation here as an outsider who has become an insider here is championship or bust. If your team is not winning a championship every single year, it is like the sky is falling here. That's just the expectation. And I'm not sure that that's just where he is in his career right now. But the thing that I want to get back to is if this trade now doesn't involve the Celtics, that's not the direction that they're going to go, and Jaylen Brown winds up staying here, even though they do have an out, and it does sound like he might be going somewhere else. One, what is that return? Who's going to be, who is their plan B? Because there's been no conversation of a plan B really this entire time. But after everything that's happened this season, all the things that have been said, him knowing that he's on the chopping block after putting his entire life on the line last year as a player to get this team where they wound up, I just think that that's a giant slap in the face, and you can't expect a guy to go out there and give you his all for a team that kind of was willing to just toss him to the side after everything that he did for them in a season. For a guy who, and we can argue, are you a Jason Tatum or a Jaylen Brown fan all day long, or if you think who one is better than the other. If I'm starting a team from scratch right now, and you're going to give me the first overall pick between the two of them, I'm going to take Jaylen Brown. I am. I like his work ethic better. I think that he is far more physical. I prefer Jaylen Brown, and I think that this team needs a player like him. So if you're going to do a trade involving him, you need to get that type of mentality and work ethic back in return. Colin, are you JB or JT?
Jason Tatum.
Oh, okay. Give me your argument why.
Jason Tatum's the better player. He has a higher ceiling.
Even after the Achilles, you think?
We'll see. For most of that run that he came back, I think 19 games or whatever, he didn't look like he did the night he tore his Achilles, but he was getting pretty close. And with another whole summer to rehab, I just think he can get pretty close to what he was before. And we'll see long-term health-wise whether the Achilles, like you saw in the playoffs, whether that causes other injuries, whether it's the calf, further leg injuries down the line. But I just think his potential, his ceiling is better than Jaylen Brown's. And when he's a top 10 player in the league, you don't give up on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a top 5 player in the league, and you shouldn't give up on that. But as a guy, I think it's more so his personality. He seems like more of a yes man, which I think is the reason that the team and Joe Mazzulla prioritize him. I have to be honest. I think that it is just him as a person and not so much the talent, especially after the injury. I think that that's kind of where I fall on that line. And the thing is that having a sore calf, people can complain about him not playing in that last game all they want to. I think it was the right decision, because anytime you hear calf these days, not to cross sports, I know that people at this station hate to do that, but with Christian Pulisic, everyone heard calf injury, and your first thought is, oh my God, 911 Achilles, do not play him. And so anytime you hear calf these days, especially in someone who's already dealt with an Achilles injury, you are hitting the panic eject button immediately. I don't love how this situation has been handled top to bottom. And I know that we have to hit a break. So when we come back, we will come back with that Paul Pierce audio that I promised you that we didn't get to because I was too busy yapping. If you want to give us a call on your Father's Day memories, 617-779-0985 is the number. We're going to hit a quick break. Kendra Middleton here with you. We'll be right back.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sport.
on that. Like, don't take that for granted. That's a winning combination.
Yeah.
I don't care what people say. It's
And
a
Derek
winning
White
conversation.
and,
Now, I mean, like, whoever the core pieces are after that, think about the teams that's been to multiple finals. Like, their core stayed together. You just shift and figure out the other pieces to make the team better. But you don't bring another, like, franchise player in and think it's gonna, like, work. You know, this works. We know. This works.
Yeah, there's no guarantee that it'll work with another guy.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? So if it's me, I wouldn't touch it. But if there's some happiness from Jalen, which I don't know, and he wants to explore other avenues to see what's out there, then I think you have to then.
If he's unhappy.
If he's unhappy. But if not, then I don't do anything.
Kendra Middleton here with you until 5 o'clock. That was Paul Pierce on the Jaylen Brown trade, Giannis, whatever you want to call it at this point, situation. I'm just going to call it a situation because honestly, who knows? I was reading Yahoo Sports earlier saying that the Bucks have found the best possible trade scenario for them. So to me, that sounds like this is basically done. But I agree with what Paul Pierce said. I think this is a winning combo, and unless you are adding Giannis Antetokounmpo to this current situation, I don't know why this is even a conversation. Clearly, this is a winning combo for them. You didn't get to see it last season because of an injury. I don't think we need to panic and blow everything up just because they outkicked their coverage last year. And if this is what is going to happen at this point, I do feel like it is because Jaylen Brown wants a change of scenery because he did not feel appreciated after everything that went down as this season went into the books. That's where I'm at with this scenario. I very much agree with Paul Pierce. And as a guy who was involved in some pretty historic trades, I would say he knows what he's talking about. So we have some calls on this situation. Let's go to Sean in Marlboro. Hello, Sean. How are you? Maybe. Call screener was funny for Alex Barth. I think it is being funny for me as well. There we go. An, hello. How are you?
Hey, good. So really quick, I used to go to races up in New Hampshire to like Lee Speedway and whatnot with my dad. And I wasn't even really into racing, but I loved going. On this Jalen Giannis thing, I think when you factor in everything, Giannis's age, his injury with his style of play, him wanting an extension, I think Jalen for Giannis straight up, Celtics get the better player, but I think they lose the deal overall when you factor everything in.
I agree. Thanks for calling. I totally agree with that. Just because, and like I said, I'm one of these people, when I pick a favorite player, it isn't just their play style. You have to be a good person for me to like you as a player. Sorry, not sorry for that. That can make me soft or whatever the 2 to 6 show would probably have to say about that. But I would like you to be a good person. And yes, he is a good person, but I do think that in the long run, I don't know if he has the drive to win anymore. If you are a huge NBA fan, the Bucks were investigated earlier this season for the handling of his injuries and when he wasn't willing to play or was willing to play or was playing and wasn't playing. I think that he's one of these guys who's like I mentioned in our first segment, he's a diva and he's allowed to be. He has been the guy in Milwaukee for the better part of a decade now. And if you put someone like that in Boston, where there are probably going to be plenty of other people ahead of you as far as, celebrity in this town right now, or just overall in general, you're not going to be the guy anymore. I think for a guy like Giannis, that matters. And that's something that he wants. And that's something that he's had forever. And it's something that he's become accustomed to. And in Miami, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a great sports town historically, but who is going to beat him out of being the number one diva or the number one guy in town right now? Who is going to do that there? And I do agree with the people who have said that if he goes to Miami, he does not care about winning anymore. And I don't think that he's a good fit here because I don't know if just the pressure of Boston sports, the title town mentality, is something that will be a good fit for him as much as I love him. It's a lot of pressure to be here. I'm in the media here and the pressure is insane. I'm not even an athlete and I've got people doxing my mom. I genuinely, I cannot imagine. And I just, from a personality standpoint, there is a type of player who fits in here and a type of player who doesn't. And I don't think that what he is accustomed to and who he is as a person fits the masshole mentality. And that's what I'm going to call it. I love the masshole mentality. It's why I love working here. I love living here. I love that, someone will tell you to F off on the street, but if you needed their shirt off their back, they'd give it to you. I like that. That's all of the Northeast for you. Whereas, where I'm from, they say bless your heart, which is really an F you at the end of the day. All right, let's go to another call on plans for Jaylen Brown. We've got Jeff in Rhode Island. Jeff, this call screener is, there we go. Thank you, Jeff. How are we going? How are you doing? What you got?
Hey, Kendra, how's it going?
Good, thanks. What's up?
Good. I just want to say happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. And if you're lucky enough to still have your dad, let him know that, you appreciate everything he's done for you and that you love him. Real quick, as far as Jaylen Brown, I think there's, like you said, I think there's that split between if you're a Brown guy or not. And my thing is, I'm a Tatum guy. Jaylen Brown as a player is great, and it's what they need. But I don't think anyone's helped this case of either side knowing what they want. Brown gives all these cryptic messages and stuff like that. And so I think at this point, he's won his welcome out. I think the team needs a change. But I think the bigger question is, if they're not getting Giannis, his value drops to another team. Because now you've got a guy that wants out most likely, from what I feel, even though he may say he doesn't. And what's the value for a guy like that now? Giannis is going to be the best value you're going to get for this guy. And I think the Celtics are in a bigger spot going into the season if they can't now pull this deal off. And will they have to overpay to get Giannis at this point?
I agree. All right. Thanks so much for the call, Jeff. I appreciate it. I took 3 things from what Jeff had to say. 1, who, if it's not Giannis, and you really do want that change of scenery, I think that the ship is far too sailed at this point for there to not be any sort of awkwardness if Jaylen stays here. So I do think that he has to go. But what does a trade package not involving Giannis even look like?
I think there's a couple places. I think New Orleans is an obvious one. They have Trey Murphy. They have another couple pieces, DeJounte Murray, couple centers that you could go after. That would be, 4 or 5 pieces that you'd be getting back.
Is that even worth it, though? That's my thing, is that, you're giving up a guy who, top 10 player in the league, and you're going to just get back a bunch of
No, you're probably losing the trade. I mean, Trey Murphy could average 25 points a game for you, if that was the role he fit here. But you would definitely be losing the trade in terms of value. Maybe long-term it works out for you. It just, the pieces fit more. You have better depth. I mean, you saw the Knicks win the title, and they played 10, 11 guys every night in the finals.
They did, but they also had, clutch playmakers.
Yeah.
And you're not going to have that outside of Jason Tatum if you get rid of Jaylen Brown and you don't get another star in here. That's the issue for me, is that the Knicks, as much as they played a lot of depth, they still had a lot of household names. Who on this team, if you get rid of Jaylen Brown and don't get Giannis, is going to be a household name? For years now, you needed a big 3, big 2, whatever. It's always been the big 3 since, 15 years ago in order to win a championship. I don't think that you are going to have the horses, even if you add depth, to survive the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, you would have to hope that Trey Murphy kind of ascends into a different level of player than he's been at, which he could potentially do. He's a good player. Atlanta has some pieces that could potentially elevate you. Jalen Johnson. I don't know what they would give up, or if they would even want to give up those pieces. Dyson Daniels. He doesn't really have an offensive game. But I mean, any trade that's not Giannis would be pieces back, and then you just kind of.
And you're going to lose the trade, and I don't think that that's something that this city wants or needs. And I think that there would be an absolute dumpster fire riot in the city of downtown if you get rid of Jaylen Brown and get back pieces in return with nothing really to show for it, and knowing that you're going to lose a trade. I think that you deal. Honestly, I'd rather them, and I'm not even a fan of the team, just from making my job easier perspective. I would rather them have the awkwardness of Jaylen Brown because that gives us something to talk about. It gives, the team a better opportunity to be successful. It makes our jobs easier, but it also makes people here not freak out in the same way, even if it is awkward and Jaylen Brown's mad. The other thing I want to talk about is the cryptic message piece of Jeff's call. I think we read way too much into that crap. I'm guilty of it. I do it all the time, but it's because it gives me something to talk about on the air. It gives the other show something to talk about when we read into this and we come up with all these dynamics and scenarios of what could this possibly mean. But to be honest, I think that Jaylen Brown is the type of guy who, one, is going to just mess with people for the heck of it at this point and say things and do things. And I think his live streams have been a very active part of doing that. But if I was in his situation, I knew that if I tweeted, some emoji, people were going to freak out about it. I would absolutely do that for my own entertainment. I'm that type of person. And yesterday on my show, Ryan Garvin compared it to, okay, we have nothing else to talk about right now, so this is going to be our Will Campbell short arm conversation of this offseason. And I totally agree with that. Was the Mike Vrabel saga not enough for everyone? Do we need to talk about Jaylen Brown's live streams to have something to get through our workday with something to talk about over? And I do think to a degree that that's what's going on here. I get that people here don't care about the World Cup in the same sense, but that should be the leading story here. That's something we should be talking about, and instead we're talking about in June, when this happened in April, Jaylen Brown's live streams and his cryptic messaging. So I just think that is something that we take too far when people need to remember that, one, as hosts and media people, we drag this stuff way too far and talk about it because it gives us something to do. And two, you've got to remember that there are people out there who the second someone tweets an emoji are going to run with it and freak out, and they know that. Celebrities, athletes, they all know that. We have a bit of a random call that I'm going to take, and it's going to lead into, I guess, our next segment that we are going to do. We have Steven in Medfield calling to talk about barbecue. So, hello, Steven. How are we?
Kendra, what's going on? Okay.
How's it going?
Oh, awesome, like always.
Awesome. I haven't heard that in a long time.
Great times. Okay, I need to know, coming from Florida, what is your favorite barbecue place that you have had so far in the Boston area? I need to know. I live in Medfield, not exactly, it's far outside the Boston area, but still. What's your favorite place?
Okay, great question. I love the food topics, which this is leading me into our next segment. Thank you so much for calling. Barbecue in Boston is terrible. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I actually saw his call on the line and Googled all of the top rated barbecue places in Boston, and I have been to 3 of the top 5. I hate barbecue here. I have to be honest. If Joe Murray has a suggestion of where I should go to get barbecue in this town and it's not somewhere I've already been, I will take it because it is the one thing other than Waffle House that I feel like I miss from home that I can't get here. I think the Rusty Can is the best option as far as close as you're going to get to something from home, but it's not the same.
Joe Murray could definitely find you a good barbecue place.
I don't know because I've looked up the top 5 of the places recommended, and I don't like any of them. I have to be honest. I think that they are all actually kind of bad. So nothing authentic that I can give you other than the Rusty Can. I do like that place. It's the best that I have found. I'm going to take a Father's Day call before I tease what we're going to be doing with the food segment, just because I want to get through these calls, and I think we're going to have some fun with the next segment. All right, so let's go to Scott, who wants to talk about his favorite Father's Day story. Scott, hello. This call screener is giving me such a hard time. Hello, Scott.
Hey, hi, Kendra. How you doing?
I am well, Scott. How are you?
I'm very good. I worked overnight. I do the bakery for a major. It might be the baseball, the company that sponsors the Red Sox. Let me give you an example. Hey, it's an easy out to left field. Tell you what's easy. Fruit Loops 2 for $5. Only at Shaw's. Kids love them. I'm just having fun with you.
Okay. I see what you did there. What's your Father's Day story?
Okay, so when I was a kid, I played Little League. This is like I was 9 or 10. And I was on the bench, and they had one girl. I grew up in Westford. There was one girl who played first base, only girl. And she was really good. But all my teammates were razzing her, and I wanted to fit in. and I shouldn't have done it if I was razzing her. All of a sudden, my dad taps me on the back of the shoulder from behind the dugout. He goes, he looks right, and you ever get this one, Kendra, where your mom or dad, you're saying something and they do the finger to the face, like, get over here now?
Yeah, my dad had a look that he would give me. Yes.
Yeah, right. So my dad gives me that look. So I get off the bench. He comes over to me. He pulls me off the bench. He goes, Scott, I know you have nothing against this girl. I know you're just trying to fit in. But let me ask you a question, Scott. Do your mom and I talk to each other that way? Yes or no? Do you think we want you talking that way to a young lady? I said, probably not. I was like, oh, my God. So he goes, Scott, I'm not mad at you, but all you want to do is don't give this woman a hard time anymore. This young lady, don't give her a hard time. And I sat back on the bench, and the other kids were going, oh, come on, let's razz her. I'm like, no, my dad doesn't want me doing that. And they're like, oh, what are you listening to your dad? And I go, yeah, my dad's a really good man. And I remember looking back at my father after that. He wasn't even staring at me. He simply was like, kind of like letting me do my own thing. And I looked back at my dad and going, wow, he's a really good man. He's like the vision of like intelligence in a sea of like bad things. So that's
great.
My dad's. Yeah, it's a really good story because I've never forgotten it.
That's amazing. Thanks so much for your call. I really appreciate it. That was a good dad story. My dad totally had a look that he would give me, but that was like the classic parent, like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. But good for his dad. I think that not just young men, but young people in general need that parent who's going to call them out on things that they do that are bad. I feel like there's way too many parents out there that just let their kids get away with murder instead of like building them into future adults or like future good people. And so I think it's good to hear stories like that. If you want to share your favorite sports Father's Day memory, whether you are a dad or you have a dad that you want to share your story, or if you're a kid and you want to give your dad a shout out, 617-779-0985 is the phone number. When we come back, I've been teasing this for like 2 segments now. I want to do a Mount Rushmore of foods that World Cup tourists should try while they are here. I have a list from a friend who just visited of the Mount Rushmore of things that he tried as a foreigner in America. But if you're going to call in, just know the parameters for this needs to be something someone can get nationally. So my answer, for example, would be Waffle House. However, people visiting from Scotland and Boston cannot get Waffle House. So I will give you that list when we come back. We're probably going to be World Cup for the next hour or so. Got lots of stuff to talk about. Like I said, 617-779-0985 is going to be the phone number. Let's hit a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
to 98.5 The Sports Hub. Kendra, Middleton here with you until 5 o'clock. Gearing up for the Belgium-Iran game, kicking off at 3 p.m. Before we do that, we have some calls to get to. I did tease that we are going to be doing a food segment here momentarily. If you are just tuning in, I will re-enter that here in a second. But the number one thing that we are doing today is calling to shout out your dad or talking about your favorite thing being a dad in relation to sports. Or like I said, if you're a kid and you want to give your dad a shout out on the air, 617-779-0985 is the answer. But we're going to go to Tyler in New Hampshire, the greatest state in New England, who has a story about his dad this Father's Day. I don't know why this is giving me such a hard time. Can you pod me up, Colin? Thank you. Tyler, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Kendra. Huge fan. Just wanted to give a shout out to my dad. He's not around anymore, but back in the day, me being a young father now, my son's two, my dad used to take me to ballparks all around the country, especially the East Coast. Even saw the Expos play. We saw old Yankee Stadium, new Yankee Stadium, old Met Stadium, new Met Stadium, Phillies, Tampa. Went all around the country, so shout out to all the dads. And side note, I took my son on vacation to a Sea Dogs game.
Whoa!
Last week, and he loved it. So
amazing.
Looking to do the same.
That's awesome. I really love that story. Thanks so much for calling, Tyler. I appreciate
Anytime.
you tuning in. And happy Father's Day to you and yours, and RIP to your dad. Like I said, if you are celebrating Father's Day out there like myself and feeling like a little down today, just remember that if you're a single mom, if your dad has passed, your child's passed, or you're a stepdad, anything like that, you get to celebrate Father's Day on this show as well. So give us a call if you'd like. I'm going to take a call that might be a little controversial, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's a Sunday in June, and Blind Scott has a Father's Day story. So we're going to take Blind Scott's Father's Day story, but Colin, stay quick on the trigger back there if you will pod Blind Scott up for this story. Hello, Scott.
Hi, Kendra. Yeah, I haven't talked to my dad in 6 years, but he calls the station. He goes by the name Harry in the car. He was a great father. I hope he's listening right now, Dad. If you hear this, I love you. He used to take me to sports in the 80s and 90s to try to keep me off of drugs. We discovered that I was going blind when I was playing Little League because the ball kept hitting me in the face, but it didn't discourage my dad from taking me to sports because he wanted to do the right thing by me. And it's very emotional for me to do a call like this because I've never done a call like this. And I really hope my dad is listening right now. I just want to tell him how much I love you, Dad. And I'm glad that we can share sports radio together. And I'm glad that you listen to my calls on sports radio. And a lot of the reason why I call this station is because I know my dad is listening. And I love my dad so much. And I just think if I didn't go blind, I could have been a professional athlete maybe. And my cousin, he plays football for Notre Dame, and I just think that if life was different for me, I would be different. But for now, I'm going to keep calling the Sports Hub, and I'm going to be doing these hot takes, and everybody can just love me so much. And happy Father's Day, everybody! Congratulations!
Happy Father's Day, Blind Scott. You know what? I would like to have a moment of clap around all of New England right now. That might be the most wholesome call that we have ever gotten from Blind Scott. And it was short, sweet, and to the point. I would like to clap it up for Blind Scott because that was unexpected. And I'm glad that you and your dad can share sports radio. I don't talk to my dad either, but we definitely share the love of sports radio. And he's the, you know what? I'll give my Father's Day sports story. How about that? We're going to dig into my childhood. This could be my therapy for a minute. The reason, and I don't know if a lot of people out there know the reason that I got into sports radio. I was a nerd, still am a nerd. I just happened to get cuter in my 20s. I was a very awkward child. But I used to apply to go to a marine science camp every summer as a kid that you literally had to write a letter and your grades had to be good enough to get into. And it was around Mother's Day. My dad was dropping me off at 6 o'clock in the morning to go to marine science camp. And it was the World Cup going on. And I was in 6th grade. And Jacksonville Radio, 1010XL, shout out to the homies. They are still on the air in the mornings down there. They were doing trivia, World Cup trivia, to win a gift card to a local flower shop at home called Kuhn Flowers, Kuhn. And all of these old men, and I'm such a soccer fan, grew up loving soccer, played travel soccer, all of that stuff, loved the World Cup, loved the Premier League, still do. all these guys were getting the questions wrong. And I grew up listening to sports radio every single day in and day out. If we were in the car, we were listening to 1010XL. And my dad got so annoyed that I knew all of these answers to the questions and was annoyed that the guys didn't know, that he hands like 11-year-old me the phone and is like, all right, kid, just call in. And so I called in, answered all the questions right, and won a gift card to buy my mom flowers for Mother's Day. And that was kind of my aha, girls can do this too moment, because there were not a ton of women in sports radio, let alone sports in general in the early 2000s. There was not a ton of representation, and I every single day thank the few women that there were for paving the way and letting me know that I could do that and I could be on the air and I could do sports and all of those things. And to be honest, if I didn't feel the way that I do towards those women who paved the path for me to be here, I probably wouldn't be in sports anymore, because I gotta be honest, some of you people online are evil and so mean and horrible that I probably would have gotten out of this if I didn't wake up and think that I was making a difference for little girls listening to this station every single day. So that is my sports story. That's how I literally from that moment on wanted to be in sports radio, knew that I could be in sports radio, and wanted to kind of maybe have a little girl out there listening to me one day being like, wow, I could do sports radio too. It's not just for the boys. So I'm trying not to cry, but that is why I actually wound up getting into sports. So now that it is the World Cup and it is Father's Day, thank you, Blind Scott, for making me want to share this story. So I teased that we were going to do a food segment, and we didn't, and we have a Sports Hub celebrity on the line to talk about food. So let's hit a quick break. We'll come back, do a quick hit on this, and then maybe get some of your calls to chime in. So 617-779-0985 is the number. We'll be right back.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
fun to come up with a Mount Rushmore of things that these World Cup tourists should try while they're here, but it has to be national, okay? We can't just do local things. If you want to do a local, whatever, you can call in and do that, but I, for the most part, want national things. So I came up with a list. They came up with a list, and I'm going to give it to you. This is not my personal list, just what I think if I were telling someone what they needed to try while they were here, what it should be. So I'm going to give you my list. I said ranch dressing. Obviously, that is like the most American thing we can do. 2, Chick-fil-A. 3, a Baja Blast. 4, an Uncrustable. And shout out to Ryan Garvin for putting lemon pepper wings on this list. That is something you can certainly do nationally. And then my honorable mention is going to be a bagel, because I think that American bagels are so different than the bagels abroad. And sure, it might not be a New York bagel, but as long as you go to a bagel shop and not like a Starbucks, I think that that counts. So that is my list. We're going to do 90 seconds, no commercials here for a check of the headlines. And then I will give you my friends' list of everything that they tried while they were here. And then we have Sports Hub Celebrity on the line to chime in on this. All right, 90 seconds, no commercials. Let's get a check of the headlines.
From the Town Fair Tire Studio, this is
strong finger all up and down.
This is home of the 18-time world champion Boston Celtics. WBZ FM and HD Boston 98.5. The Sports Hub. Sports Hub headlines.
All right, my friends, the Red Sox are in action today after winning 5-1 in Seattle yesterday. The two sides will run it back today with Tate and Tolley on the mound looking for a series sweep with the first pitch at 4:10 p.m. Over in the World Cup, Spain winners over Saudi Arabia 4-0 in the early game. Next up, right now, we are getting Belgium taking on Iran. That is literally kicking off right now. And then later on, we're going to get Uruguay taking on Cape Verde. Shout out to Brockton. That will be at 6 o'clock. And then New Zealand and Egypt, my bad, at 9 o'clock this evening. And Wyndham Clark is currently your leader in the U.S. Open and looking more and more like your potential winner. Sports Up Headlines were brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. No risk, all rewards path to real weight loss. If you're not happy with your results in the first week, get 100% of your money back. Awaken180weightloss.com. Listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub, Boston's Home for Sports. I'm Kendra Middleton, and your next update is at 4 o'clock.
The Sports Hub. 3 legendary franchises on one legendary radio station. It's the Sports Hub. In this town, sports happens 24/7. We're Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
One, think that this tastes so much better than usual. And I feel like I have had the Zoomies ever since I had the first sip. I can't even read my headlines because my brain feels like it's going a million miles an hour. The only thing I've had today is 3 shots of espresso and now coffee from our coffee machine that usually is terrible. So whoever cleaned the coffee machine at this studio, I cannot. My brain is working faster than my mouth right now because of this coffee. Okay, so just gave you guys my list. One more rundown in case you're just tuning in. Ranch S tier, Chick-fil-A number 2, Baja Blast 3, Uncrustable 4, and thank you to Ryan Garvin. We're going to go lemon pepper wings, but before that I had a bagel on my list. Do you have any honorable mentions, Colin?
What about like a Dairy Queen Blizzard?
Ooh. Do we think that Dairy Queen is the best available ice cream to this country, though?
Like nationally?
Yeah.
Probably. Like on a national brands?
Yeah.
Like, unless you're talking like Cold Stone.
I was going to say Cold Stone would probably be my answer.
I feel like a Dairy Queen Blizzard is just kind of like a staple.
I have to say, I did tease that I was going to give my friends list. One of the like outskirt mentions for them was a Slurpee. Like I know that he was like, we have Slurpees in other countries, but our flavors aren't the same as you guys.
Yeah, like 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like a classic.
I will say I do love that tourists are like over here right now and they finally understand why we're so fat. It's not that like, I mean, obviously our healthcare sucks, but like our food just is so much better because there's no laws preventing us from having all of this bull crap in our food. So like, of course it's better because it's like genetically modified to be awesome. But I think that the big difference between like, and not to be that person, I like to travel because I don't have kids and I'm not married and I'm not paying for diapers or child support or whatever. So I spend my money on going places. The reason that Americans are so much fatter than everybody else is because of our drinks. Our drinks rule. Abroad, it's like you get a cappuccino, whereas like Starbucks, you get some grande vanilla, 3 pumps of lavender, ube, whatever the hell, and it's like 1,000 calories. It's because our drinks rule.
What about like a Dunkin' Coolada?
I think that is. I don't like the Cooladas. Am I crazy for that? I'm anti-Coolada.
I mean, I don't like Coolada. Like as a kid, I liked Cooladas, like a vanilla bean Coolada. But like, I feel like that's like
okay. This is actually the perfect segue because the 2 things that were on his list that were not on my list. Apparently, they don't have root beer abroad. So root beer float was number 4 on that list. And then the other thing that I just think is an absolute curveball, even though I have been shoving this down everyone's throats on the air since they came out, and you better not sell them out again like you did the last time I mentioned these on the air because I had to go to 3 different Starbucks to get one. The jalapeno chicken pocket from Starbucks is elite, and I will hear nothing else about it. The jalapeno chicken pocket from Starbucks is incredible. All right, we have Sparts Hub royalty on the phone, but if you would like to call in with your must try for World Cup tourists, 617-779-0985. And I'm so sorry to have you on hold for this long, but welcome to the show, Adolfo. If I can get the call screener. There we go. Adolfo!
Hello, hello. How you doing?
I am so good now that you are here. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Also, speaking of like barbecue places in New England, like you're not going to get any good Mexican food out there either. So don't even bother.
Taco Loco in Somerville.
No, boo, tomato.
Love.
Like, if you're charging me $4 for a taco, that's not a taco. Let me tell you something that is a taco that a lot of these foreigners who are visiting from out of town have to check out. And it's not in New England. You got to go to Jack in a Box and get the 2 tacos for $1.29.
But those aren't national. I can't go to Jack in the Box here.
Yeah, I know. There's like New England is its own like thing. It's like,
are you telling me that a Jack in the Box taco is better than Taco Loco?
Yes.
No, Adolfo.
You're not gonna go into debt getting a taco from Taco Loco. Yeah. Also, let's see. If you're in the area, you have to try a pizza with cheese, Pizzeria Regina. That's not local, but that's in the area.
You're losing me, Adolfo. You're losing me on these food takes. I need you to give a good one before I let you go. I think that these are awful.
What?
I love you more than life. I love you more than life. But saying that a Jack in the Box 2-for-1 taco is better than a local Taco Loco Mexican spot, and then drop.
What's more American than tacos from Jack in the Box? What's more American than that? Like, I know I ain't talking
Pizza
to
Regina?
Yankees. I'm talking to a Southern gal here.
Actually, the worst meal experience I've ever had happened at Pizza Regina. My pizza was so hot that it burnt the roof of my mouth off to the point where the skin literally, I had to swallow it from the roof of my mouth.
It's a literal trial by fire. Like, that's how you become a New Englander.
All right, give me one last food take before I let you go that's semi-decent.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Okay, I will allow that. That is, yes, that was my favorite cereal as a kid. You have redeemed yourself.
Yeah, and also Doritos Cool Ranch. They don't got them. Overseas they call it American style.
They don't have Doritos abroad?
They don't have Doritos Cool Ranch. They don't. They call it American style over there.
Okay, so maybe
Cool Ranch is
we double this, and with your Baja Blast, you get a Cool Ranch taco.
Okay, from Taco Bell.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
What's more American than that?
It's true. All right, well, thanks for calling. Love you, Adolfo. Miss you.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, honorable mention. Do we include cereals in this? Because, like...
Are American cereals, like, available overseas?
No, but they are still cereals. I was thinking more so, like, restaurants or chains, but, like, our cereals do rule because one of them has, like, your entire sugar allowance for a year.
Yeah, like as a kid, I liked, like, Cocoa Puffs.
That was your favorite cereal? What were your top 3 cereals as a kid?
This is kind of a niche one. Have you heard of Crave?
Yes.
That was my favorite.
Yes. Okay, I was a s'mores kid, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and then I really liked Lucky Charms. Those were my 3. But are you old enough to remember the s'mores cereal?
Probably not.
Oh, if you are out there and you are like a late 90s baby, you definitely remember the s'mores cereal. It was so good, and I don't know if they still make it anymore, but it was insane. And I don't even love s'mores like that, but it was just so good. Honorable mention. I'm trying to decide if I think cereal should count. I don't know. Root beer float was good. That was a good one. Yeah, I think that there are so many better options than a 2-for-1 taco, Adolfo, from Jack in the Box. Doritos, I don't know. I will say the chips when I go to other countries are probably my favorite things to try because the Lay's in all the other countries does like random sick flavors. Like when I was in Africa a couple weeks ago, they had a cranberry cheddar chip, and that was delicious. Japan does like a steak flavored chip that is so good from Lay's. Chips abroad are just always different, but I feel like because there's so many, like I would love to have a cheddar cranberry chip here, but it's not something I would go out of my way to get, like a 2-for-1 Jack in the Box taco. But I feel like the bagel's a good mention. Jalapeno chicken pocket is crazy. What locally would you say here? Because Pizza Regina wouldn't be up there for me. Obviously, you have to go to the North End, but I would say, do you have a favorite North End restaurant?
I couldn't name one, though. I've been there, but...
What? You don't have a favorite restaurant in the North End, like the most iconic neighborhood in Boston?
No. I don't... Yeah, no.
That is such a red flag, Colin.
Like, I've been there, but, like, I don't, like, go there often.
What is your favorite restaurant in town?
I don't know. I don't, like, go out to, like, fancy restaurants in Boston.
Okay, when it's your birthday, what do you want?
Usually just go, like, to Abington Ale House. Classic local spot.
You know what? All right, if you're going to take a girl on a date, where are you going to take her?
Like a Celtics game? Like, I don't know. I don't know restaurants like that.
Okay. So this is why you're not on Joe Murray's show.
Yeah, I don't. Like, I don't have the restaurant knowledge that Joe has.
Someone is saying Mike's Pastry, which I'm a Bova's girl. Mike's is a tourist trap. Someone else in the YouTube chat. Lucky Charms rules. Cereals are a separate category. I agree. I think that I'm going to nix cereals from the ranking because you can probably order them online, I would assume. You can't order a Baja Blast online unless I guess you order the Mountain Dew cans or whatever. Someone saying Whopper from Burger King is 1 billion times better than a Whopper from Europe. I have to say, as someone who tries McDonald's in all of the other countries, McDonald's is superior other places because they do like the random like local niche things. So like for example, when I was in Portugal, they did the pastel de natas at McDonald's and they were delicious, but it's hard for those to be bad. Even the one I had at Zara because I was just craving one when I was over there was so good. But yeah, McDonald's abroad, that's the S tier. Burger King, not so much.
What about like a French fry? Can they like replicate the McDonald's fry?
Yeah, the fries from McDonald's I feel like the same everywhere. But yeah, I'm trying to think of other things that if I were a tourist, obviously barbecue if you're in the right places. I saw a lot of the guys who were in like Kansas City for the World Cup were loving the barbecue. Have you been following this Freddie guy on Twitter? That he's been like a big story.
Yeah, he's getting like sent everywhere. He went to like an Ella Langley concert.
He got to like tour some like NASA ship or something like that. I'm like, all right, this is going too far. Like Ella Langley, if you're like a fan or whatever, but the fact that this kid's getting like private privileges to NASA is kind of nuts. Like, that's a little too far for me. Also, how long do we think until inevitably now there's an NFL game in Scotland?
I could see the Patriots playing a game in Scotland in
like
5 years.
Yeah, 5 years? You think that long?
I mean, 3 years maybe. Do they have an NFL, like a stadium there that's capable of holding an NFL game?
I don't know. I've been to Scotland, but I didn't go to any of the games over there. But that's a good question.
I'm assuming they have like soccer. I don't know, like if they have like one that's like big enough to hold a...
Yeah, that's actually a good question. I wonder what their biggest stadium is. That's a good question. All right. When we come back, we'll do more about whatever you guys want. 617-779-0985. If you want to call in, tell us your favorite story about your dad, any Father's Day, anything. You want to give your dad a shout out. If you want to contribute to our food conversation, you can do local, you can do national, anything you guys want. It is a Sunday in June. It's Father's Day. I'll let whatever you want fly. It is 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Kendra Middleton. We'll be right back.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
With only
The honorable mentions that have blown up for me on Twitter are diners. Apparently diners are not a big thing there. So anytime a foreigner can go to a big diner, big ups. Seafood boils, obviously a huge answer. I think it depends. I think that's probably more regional. Like you couldn't get that in like middle America if you were going to like Kansas City or something like that. But seafood boils, I guess, are a big thing that people from like World Cup tourism are talking about online. Another mention, pies. So like they do like shepherd's pie and stuff abroad. I more so mean I guess people are freaking out about being able to get like key lime pie and pecan pie. That's a big thing that I guess is blowing up on the World Cup tourism sites. More Americans talking about corn dogs, s'mores, macaroni and cheese, sweet tea, Nashville hot chicken, and I guess the peanut butter abroad is not the same. I guess American peanut butter, because we put like xylitol and crap like that in our peanut butter, it's so much better here, which I guess makes sense. Like I said earlier, like we just put so much stuff in our food so that it does taste better and we're fat and spend more money on healthcare. Okay, so we're going to take some calls on the Father's Day stuff at the beginning of the show. I mentioned that if you want to call in and tell us your favorite Father's Day sports memory with your dad or your kid, please do so. 617-779-0985 is the answer. Lots of you lined up on the call line to do that. So let's go to T in Rhode Island, who wants to talk about Father's Day sports stories. Hi, T. How's it going?
Hey, Kendra. This is first time, long time, loyal listener to 98.5, the Sports Hub. I've been a big fan of yours and Joe Murray. I think, Joe, you guys are hilarious together, and I think you deserve more airtime. But I'm one of the early risers on weekends, and I try to get into 8 o'clock, but it's kind of tough sometimes. It's a little bit early.
I don't blame you, but I appreciate the love.
Your overall sports knowledge is impressive, especially the football. Like big ups to you. Stay loyal to your Jaguars, you know what I'm saying? But let me knock off some of this list. My favorite Father's Day memory was literally Michael Jordan coming back, winning his 4th title after his hiatus in baseball, winning on Father's Day, and just collapsing, crying because his father, was murdered. Like that's the reason why we walked away. So I watched that with my father, and it was very, very emotional, so that was, and I wasn't even a Jordan fan growing up. I'm a Celtics through and through, but that was rang true to me, Next thing is, where would I take anyone on a date? It's got to be Capitol Grill, right? You can't go wrong with Capitol Grill. Come on.
I love the Capitol Grill's burger spot over on Newbury. I don't know if you've been there, Capitol Burger. Have you been there?
I have not.
Oh.
I'm from Rhode Island, so the one in Providence is really good. The one in Dedham's pretty good too, but I have not tried the one with the one you're talking about.
Next time you're up here and you're craving a burger, go to Capitol Burger. It's delicious. They do tableside pickles. I know that it's insane to say that that's probably my favorite burger in town, but it is, and it is probably halfway to do with the tableside pickles because you guys know that I love them. But I would if you love Capitol Grill, that's the spot.
Between you and Joe Murray, anything you guys say for food, I believe you. You know what I'm saying? And the barbecue thing, coming from my buddy lives in Austin, Texas. He works for he's an adjunct professor for the Longhorns. That's real barbecue.
That is real barbecue.
That's like, come on.
Yeah.
You can't even compare that to up here. It's all fugazi, phony, fake stuff up here, But I'll leave you with this, and I'll ask the question, and I'll hang up. I want to hear you listen. Being just overall football fan, as a Jaguar, tell me what you think about Travis Hunter. This is a guy who won. Did he not win the Heisman, the Bednarik, and the Biletnikoff in his last year at Colorado? So that he was the best overall player in college. He was the best defensive player in college, Bednarik, and he was the best wide receiver, Biletnikoff, in college, all in 1 year. And in saying that, what position do you think he should play? Honestly, I think he should play corner. He's a shutdown corner, but you can't go wrong either way.
Yeah.
Right? Like, his ball skills are amazing.
Yeah.
But corner is a premium position. If you have a guy who can be elite corner, flip his hips, and do the things that Travis Hunter can do, I would put him at corner. But I'll hang up and listen. And definitely my first call here, but I'm a long-time listener, a long-time fan. Keep up the great work. You deserve more airtime.
I appreciate that, T. Thanks for calling, and I will get to everyone else's calls in a second, but I want to answer his question quickly. The staff came out earlier this year and said that he primarily will be playing corner, and I think that that is the right decision. However, you can expect him to have packages at receiver, but now that the Jags have a little bit more depth at receiver, I will say Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr. both put on a ton of good, positive muscle weight this offseason. I don't know if anybody has seen pictures of them, and I know nobody cares about the Jaguars up here, but they both look good. I do agree, corner probably the better position for him and a better fit on this team, but I do hope that they continue to have packages for him at receiver because, I like the trickery, and I think that Liam Cohen does that quite well. So, love the Travis Hunter question. Let's go to John, who has a Father's Day story and a food wreck for tourists. Hello, John. How are you?
Good, Kendra. Thanks for having me on.
Of course.
So, just today I experienced the combination of the two topics you're talking about. We visited my father, who's in an assisted living facility, and almost every time we go visit him, he wants to get Chinese food. I think Americanized Chinese food is something a lot of foreigners would like.
Great shout out. The Kowloon. If anyone is here, go see Andy Wong at Kowloon. What's your dad's go-to order?
It's a very Kowloon-like, boneless spare ribs, pork fried rice, and chicken fingers. My favorite as well.
Love that. Do you have any good sports stories with your dad as a kid?
It wasn't Father's Day, but shortly before Father's Day, 20 years ago, he and I went to the Masters. And it's the one time I've been there. He surprised me with the tickets, and it was the best time. And, even to this day, we watched the Masters together. We were going to watch the U.S. Open today, but it looks like Wyndham Clark already has it wrapped up. So it's going to be a little anticlimactic, but love watching the golf with him.
I love that. Thanks so much for calling. Great recommendation for the tourists with the Chinese food, especially if you're up here in Boston. That's definitely the vibe. Boston has great Chinese food. Thanks, John. Have a good one.
You too.
All right, let's go to Jimmy, who is in my favorite state of New Hampshire, who wants to talk about his daughters. Hi, Jimmy. How we doing?
Good, Kendra. So I'm a P1. I have I think I drive my kids pretty nuts, always having the Sports Hub on. I have a 6-year-old boy and identical twin daughters, Isabel and Sophia, that are 5. And I want you to know that they can't stand Dad listening to the radio, but when they hear Kendra, the girl, oh my God, Dad, Kendra's on the radio. There's a girl on the radio. They listen. They want to hear what you have to say, and I hope you know that there are the people that you're hoping to reach, you are reaching, and I hope that, someday Isabel and Sophia have an opportunity to come at some sort of event that you have to meet you, because they love you, they love your representation, and I do as well. So thank you, Kendra.
That's so nice. That actually just made my entire month. Are you on social media by chance? Can you send me a message so that we can make that happen?
Absolutely. I'm not on the gram or on the Twitter, but I'll figure out a way.
So shoot me an email, KendraJMiddleton0@gmail.com. I'm sure I'm going to get a ton of weird emails from that, but it's in my Instagram bio, so anybody can email me if they want to. Send me an email. I'd love to send them some stuff and get you guys out to an event and keep in touch.
No doubt. Kendra, so what was it, Kendra Middleton? What was it? I'm on the ride.
That's okay. It's Kendra J Middleton 0@gmail.com, or even if you don't have Instagram, it's linked on my Instagram. If you just Google me, you can email me straight from there.
You're the best, Kendra.
Awesome.
Have a good
Thanks,
one.
Jimmy. Have a good one. All right, let's go to Joe in Everett, who wants to talk about a Father's Day sports story. What's up, Joe?
Blessings, Kendra, and Jesus loves you. Thanks for taking my call. I have a story for my father. His name was Alfred. He was born in 1928. He's very popular and very jovial. And I had to put him in a nursing home, I think in 2003 or 2002. It was at Chelsea Soldiers Home. And it took the life out of him. He was not the same. He didn't smile. He didn't talk much. And then the Red Sox won the World Series. And I remember going to visit him. I said, Daddy, did you hear? The Red Sox won the World Series, and he looked at me and smiled. He said, I know. and it was so invigorating and so, like, it just changed my life and his life, and it was just a great story, and thanks for letting me share. God bless you, dear.
Of course. Thanks for calling in, Joe. This is what I wanted today. This is what I wanted. I feel like the World Cup has kind of changed the energy and the vibe around. We're not hating on each other. There's like positive energy. Everybody is happy. And I just wanted to bring some, not just positivity to the airwaves and some good memories, but I think it's important for people to keep memories alive. And when you talk about stories like that, it gives other people hope and good vibes and energy and stuff like that. And I think that that's important to do every once in a while, especially because, like, obviously Father's Day kind of gets hung out to dry because, you know, like, there's a lot of people who are out there with single parents, don't have dads, like that type of thing. So people forget about Father's Day, and I don't want that to happen. I like the good vibes. I like the good stories. So, Colin, I'm putting you on the spot. Do you have a Father's Day sports story or memory?
I don't know. It's like specific to Father's Day.
No, just what's your favorite sports memory with your dad?
I mean, me and my dad go to games all the time, whether it's Celtics, Red Sox, Patriots. So I think just doing that.
What's the best game you guys have seen together?
It's probably, I was thinking about it earlier today when you texted me about the Father's Day stories. I think it's 2021. We went to the Red Sox playoff game where Christian Vasquez hit the walk-off homer in the 13th inning.
Okay.
I think that's probably it.
That's a good one. Did he coach any of your like little league stuff or anything?
No.
No? Well, did he play any sports? Did you play any sports?
I played baseball, football, basketball growing up.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he was always at the games, but
yeah. I think it's crazy when people are like, yeah, my dad was like the coach of my team, and my dad was our trainer. And my dad was such a hard ass. Like, because he was like a first responder, unless your brain was like across the field and you were like unconscious, like you were fine. And so I think that my like big sports memory with my dad, other than like listening to sports radio, was every once in a while I was a keeper for like ever. I did karate and I played goalie. Those were the two things that I did. And one time this finger is still messed up from doing it. I broke this finger so bad during a tournament that it was like, you can't see this unless you're on YouTube or you're calling in the studio, but my finger was making an L shape. And my dad broke my finger back in place, cut the fingers off of my glove, and duct taped them together and had me go back out there and finish the tournament because he was like, no, you're fine. My brother wrestled in the state tournament with a staph infection in his knee because unless you were like literally dying, you were going out there, you were representing the Middleton family, and you were playing or doing whatever it was that you did, because that's just how it was, because my dad was such a hard ass. And so having my dad as my trainer on like a travel soccer team was kind of nuts. And that's like the one thing that I remember is my dad, like me just being like, okay, break it back in place and I'll go back out there, fine. And that's how it was. So yeah. Any dad stories you have? Is this person on hold? Are they okay? So yeah, any dad sports stories or any dad anything you guys have, you want to call in 617-779-0985 is the number. I'm really enjoying this. I'm getting more and more tweets about the honorable mentions for things that foreigners should try. Someone said that the Tartan Army has already made their way to Kowloon, which if they did, I love that, and I need to see videos of that because Kowloon is the best. I would say anyone who's coming locally, I will take them to Kowloon because Saugus wings truly are life-changing. Colin, do you think that Saugus wings are more life-changing than a buffalo wing?
Can I say I've never been to the Kowloon?
Are you serious?
Never been.
And you're from here?
Yes.
Why is it that everyone I know who is from the area has never been to the Kowloon?
It could be a South Shore thing. I'm from the South Shore, so I've driven past it a bunch, but it's just I'm never in that area.
Shame.
I have to go.
Okay, let's go to Greg, who has a Father's Day story over in Cambridge. Good afternoon, Greg. How we doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
So I grew up in Portland, Maine, and we used to go to a lot of Celtics games, like 1 or 2 a year, my dad and I, and we'd drive down after school every day. And my favorite memory is he would print out all the stats and the rosters and the bios of both teams, and I would spend a 2-hour drive going through it with him and getting all excited about the players we were going to see. And that's a really fond memory of sports with my dad that was like really present all the way from like elementary school all the way up through high school.
Do you have a favorite game you guys watched together?
Well, actually, a couple of years ago, and this was last year, it was not from childhood, but we went to a Red Sox game. It was the first one he'd been to for a long time, but he runs this scoreboard at the Portland Sea Dogs, And he was all excited to see the guys that he had seen at the Sea Dogs and said it made him feel like a kid again going with me. So that was really awesome.
Did you play any sports growing up?
I played tennis, basketball, a little bit of baseball, a little bit of soccer.
Did he coach any of your teams, or was he your trainer?
No, but my mom coached my teams. My dad was like the cheerleader, and my mom was the coach.
Your mom coach? How did that go? That's like actually kind of
It was
sick.
great. She coached high school tennis before I was like in high school, and actually before I was born. And then when I was growing up, she coached my basketball teams, and like all my friends still say that my mom was their favorite coach. So.
That's amazing. I actually love that so much. That's a really good story. Thanks so much for calling. Wait, what's your dad's name? You want to shout him out?
Yeah, Ken Levinsky.
Shout out Ken.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for calling, Greg. Really appreciate it. Call back anytime.
You.
See ya. I love this so much. I can't even imagine my mom being such a badass that she was like my tennis coach and my friends still being like, yeah, your mom was my favorite coach. I don't know if that's kind of a diss though, being like, yeah, your mom was my coach, but I would love that. Let's go to Chris, who has a Father's Day story as well. Hello, Chris. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kendra. Love listening to you. My father was a college coach. He coached college basketball, college baseball, and he was a hard guy. And it was a great baseball player, great football player in high school and into college. And he passed away quite a while ago. My mom, because my dad was such a great athlete, put me in a sport that she thought that he had never played. She put me in hockey when I was 5 years old, and I played hockey for years on into college. When my father passed away, I was sitting at his wake, and the room had emptied out, and this old guy came in, kneeled down, paid his respects, came over to me and said, "You're the son?" And I said, "Yeah." And he started talking stories about my father from high school baseball and football. And then he leaned in and he said, "You know what? Your father was one hell of a hockey player. And if he had stayed with hockey, he could have made the NHL." And I looked at this guy and I was like, my father, this SOB, kept hockey from his mouth because he knew that that was my thing. And he stayed away from it. Even though he was a tremendous hockey player, he never let me know. He never let my mother know. And he had the sense, as hard as he was, to let me have my thing. And so he came to games, he kept his mouth shut, but it was just a tremendous, tremendous blessing that I got right before he went to the final rest. So I thank my father for having the sense in that moment to give me my thing.
That's a great story. I really appreciate you calling in. What was your dad's name?
His name's Pete DiOrio.
All right. Shout out to Pete. Thanks for calling in, James. Have a good one.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Colin, my computer has completely frozen and I am getting the spinning wheel of death. Can you pod up Chris with his Father's Day story for me? Oh, did they all just drop off? Everybody just dropped off? All right, give us a call back. Chris, everybody else that was on the line, 617-779-0985. Sorry, our call screener is having some issues today, but please call back. We'll hit a quick break so you can do so. You are listening to Kendra Middleton on 98.5 The Sports Hub. We'll be right back.
Boston's home for sports, 98.5 The
calls for your favorite memory sports-wise with your dad or your kid. If you want to get in on that, 617-779-0985. Let's go to Bob, who has a Father's Day sports story in Somerville. Hopefully this call screener does not kick everybody off again. Hello, Bob. How are we doing?
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you for asking. What do you have for us?
Well, I'm holding a letter that's dated September 10th, 1946. And it's a 5-sentence letter from the president of Boston Garden Arena Corporation. You want me to read it to you?
Yes, I do.
It says, Dear Rocco, who is my dad, this is to inform you that we start our regular training schedule in Boston on Monday, September 30th at the Boston Arena. Will you please report to me personally at the arena sometime before noon on the 30th? The entire squad will be quartered in the arena building during the training period. I would request that you bring your own basketball shoes, and the club will furnish the other equipment necessary for training. Please acknowledge receipt of this letter. Very truly yours, John D. Russell, basketball coach, Boston Celtics professional basketball team.
Wow.
He got invited to train out with the Boston Celtics. I think it was their first team. I'm not sure.
That's a really, really cool story and a cool letter to have. Thanks for sharing that so much. What was your dad's name again?
He got invited to play with the Boston Celtics in 1946.
How'd the tryout go? Do you know?
He had to go in the service, I guess. He only got to try out. Apparently, Chuck Connors, who was the rifleman, a TV star on the TV show The Rifleman, he played on the same Boston Celtics team back then.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, he broke the first glass backboard in the basketball league. I guess he broke one of the glass backboards or something.
Well, that's a really cool story and a good memory to have, Bob. Thanks so much for calling in.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's go to Pearl, who has a Father's Day story. Pearl is in Boston. Hello, Pearl.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. The funny thing was my dad he's the biggest hardo, and he's never impressed. I was a high school All-American. I thought it was the greatest thing in the world, and he always had something to say that I wasn't doing good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm at a game, and I went absolutely probably my best game ever. I was 10 for 10, 4 touchdowns, 2 kickoff returns, and I'm thinking I had the greatest game, and then I walked off. He says, hey, you would have had another touchdown if you saw the guy in the corner. I'm like, my gosh. But he was at every game, standing in the end zone, no matter. He was a fireman, and he would run up. You just see him running up, prior to the game with his uniform on, and made sure he was in the end zone every game. Never missed a game.
What was your dad's name?
George.
George. That's a great story. Thanks so much for calling in, Pearl. Have a good one.
Yeah.
All right, we got another Bob over in Malden. This is Bob in Malden who wants to share a Father's Day story. How are we doing, Bob in Malden?
Hi, Kendra. Thank you very much, young lady. I just happened to turn all this business on coming back, and it's great entertainment. This was back in, I think it was 2003, team from Medford, baseball, had a chance to go out to Cooperstown and play a game right there at the Hall of Fame. And who was down the street taking pictures with people? You ever hear of Warren Spahn?
I don't think so.
Yeah, greatest left-handed pitcher ever for the Milwaukee Braves back in the 1950s. And he said, I can get someone to take me over there. He came over and watched him pitch a couple of innings. That made my day. And my son, after looking up Warren Spahn and what he did, like I said, probably the greatest left-handed pitcher ever.
I love it. Thanks, Bob. Thanks for calling in. Have a good one. Happy Father's Day. All right. See, we're really bringing the people together. We got calls. I'm so sorry if you dropped off and you were one of those calls. Give us a call back, 617-779-0985. When we got on the show, I joked that I wanted to take a segment from all of our weekday shows and do a spin-off of them. So I think that's what we're going to do the rest of the way, unless you guys want to call in with your Father's Day stories or any of your Mount Rushmore of things that you think World Cup tourists should try food-wise while they're here. So when we come back, I think we're going to hit this early break, and we're going to do a 3-up, 3-down of Patriots players for this upcoming season and players on other teams in the NFL that I think could have a 3-up, 3-down type of style vibe to it. And then we might have some in or out, maybe some musings. We're going to figure it out during this break. Like I said, if you want to get in on today's show, I will let anything fly. Even if it's not Father's Day, you want to call in about the World Cup because we're watching Belgium and Iran right now. You want to call in on literally anything, I'll let you do it. 617-779-0985. You're listening to Kendra Middleton on the Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Yucky and gross. Even though I love you guys, I am convinced that I am the only one that's actually clean here. Although, I feel like some of the people here do give OCD clean energy. Like McCone, he gives like he's OCD clean. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that I think is a really clean human being. I'm going to go with Adam 12, even though he's not here anymore. He gives OCD clean energy. Do you think there's anybody else?
Felger and Maz. They do a wipe down.
Yeah, Felger gives OCD clean energy. I think Maz gives like he's a clean person, but not like OCD overboard. You know what I mean?
It's probably because Zoe sits in the seat, so
exactly.
He's gotta clean.
Yes, that is. I am OCD clean. Although I will say, Zoe leaves his lotion bottles in here, and I'm very thankful for it. The ones for his feet, but I do Lysol the entire bottle before I will steal some of it because I don't need my hands touching Scott's feet. I gotta be honest. So I do Lysol the crap out of those bottles before I use them. But now that I think about it, they're not in here right now. Is his lotion gone? Am I crazy? Do I need to do an updated What's in the Studio video? I know we have like some WD-40 over there now. Maybe I do. Where is Scott's lotion? Okay. Before we went to break, when I first got on the air, which I'm sure there are very few people listening from the beginning of this show, I said that I wanted to treat today like a mix of all of the shows and do a segment from each of them, but then we got way more calls than I expected, which was very great and very helpful. If you would like to call in 617-779-0985, I will allow calls on anything you want. However, our calls today have been your favorite sports memory with your dad or your child. If you are a father out there, feel free to keep calling in on those because I think that they have been a nice switch up of the usual stuff on this station, and I like hearing your positive favorite stories and memories of your dad. They don't even have to be sports related, but it'd be preferred if they were, so feel free to give us a call. Now, I want to start with the 3 up, 3 down segment that the afternoon show does because I think that that's an easy way to kind of bring in some football talk here. We've been talking a lot of World Cup. We did some Celtics, but I want to talk about the Patriots. I'd love to talk about the Red Sox, and I know that they have a potential sweep on the line tonight, but it's hard to care about a team that feels like they don't even really care about themselves. I don't know if that's crazy to say. I was hoping when I went on my big trip for a couple of weeks, they might turn their season around a little bit, but it's just too late now. I know that there's still people out there who are cheering for the team and holding on hope, and having all the Scottish people in town at the games was fun and energizing and cute for a minute, but this team is just, they're not fun. And how much longer can we all sit here and talk about the same things with the Red Sox? You know, I'd rather talk about football that's not even going on right now. Sorry, not sorry. So, 3 up, 3 down. I did this from a local perspective, but I also have a couple names nationally if that's something that you guys are interested in for fantasy football purposes. I think that that is an interesting look. So, my 3 up. My number 1 has to be Drake May. They did the thing. They went out there and they got him a number 1 receiver, and I think that that is going to be an absolute difference maker in his trajectory, his career, however you want to put it. We knew, and I got to say this, you guys know that on Saturdays, I host a gambling show. That's not a secret. When I'm in on Friday mornings on Toucher and Hardy, that's why I'm there. And to see that this was such an unkept secret, that the line on the Patriots season after acquiring A.J. Brown did not move and did not change, I think says a lot about how maybe concrete this was nationally. And when all of these lines came out, it had to be just so known and so expected for Vegas odds makers when they were putting out these lines to know that A.J. Brown was going to be a Patriot, for that to not even give them half a game or a game of adjustment. And I think that that says a lot about how important A.J. Brown is going to be, not just to Drake May, but to this team. I think that that's huge. If you don't have A.J. Brown as your or Drake May as your number 1 up on this roster after that, I don't know what to tell you. My number 2 is going to be Travion Henderson. I don't think that he had the best go of it last year. I really thought after Ramondre Stevenson had some fumbling problems that he was going to have some more playing time. And I think that if you are out there and you think that coaches and players and everything like that don't read or listen to what people have to say or the criticisms or anything like that, you're insane. And in order, which we will get to the downs in a minute, but in order for this coaching staff to kind of save face and keep the story not on them and the spotlight not on them, they need to be perfect. And in order to be perfect, I think that you need to utilize the depth on your rosters, not have fumbling problems, anything that puts you in a spotlight or anything like that media-wise. is bad. And a big story last year was why the heck is TreVeyon Henderson not being used, let alone being used properly? And I think that that's something that they have to avoid to keep the spotlight and the scrutiny off of them for this year. And all the jokes about TreVeyon Henderson being the one to leak this Diana Rossini stuff has been great meme-wise. I think that he's going to get some more touches this year. Big ups for him. My third up is going to be Caleb Lomu, which I understand, rookie, but I think that there's probably going to be some movement. I in my heart of hearts believe that Will Campbell is a guard. And I think a lot of you out there do as well. And after everything that unfolded in this offseason, I think it's fair to say that Mike Vrabel coming out after the Super Bowl and saying that Will Campbell's position is not going to change has, one, just been coach speak after a loss, especially a historical performance at that position in a bad way. Something you have to say about your guy, something you have to rally behind him, get behind him on, and say nice things about him. Even if you don't know what cards are in your future or what the season's going to look like next year or anything like that, you have to go out there and you have to give your guy some love. But two, after everything that's happened, I think it's easy to say that I and everyone else have lost some respect for Mike Vrabel, and his words no longer seem as truthful as they once did. Whether that is on the field or off the field, you have to take everything that he says now with a grain of salt. And so the fact that he's going out here and saying, no, Campbell's our guy, Campbell's our guy, Campbell's our guy, and you go out there and you draft Caleb Lomu, who in his introductory press conferences very much was saying he is more comfortable and feels like he is better playing the position that Will Campbell currently plays for this team, but he's willing to play anywhere, I think says a lot about, one, his drive, two, where he wants to be, and three, how hard he's willing to compete to do that. So I'm going to say Caleb Lomu, my up. Big up for him, especially because now that they have a receiver, there is really no excuses for this offense anymore.
Can I share another rookie that might be an up?
Of course you can.
Eli Raridan out of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Tight end. I watched a lot of Notre Dame games the past couple of years, and now that Julian Hill is injured, I think he's going to slide up the depth chart, and I think he big impact guy.
That is a perfect tease for part of my 3 down, even though I have 4 down. But we're going to go 90 seconds, no commercials, get a check of the headlines here, and then we will do our 3 down.
From the Town Fair Tire Studio, the game is on the Sports Hub.
Goes to the backhand and score! Two-hand slam!
Boston's home for sports. WBCFM Boston. I love this team. 98.5, the Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
Your Red Sox in action today after winning 5-1 in Seattle yesterday. The two sides are going to run it back at 4:10 with Peyton Tolley on the mound, looking for a series sweep. That game will start in about 8 minutes time or so. Over in the World Cup, Spain winners over Saudi Arabia 4-0 in the early game. Currently Belgium taking on Iran 0-0 at the half. Uruguay taking on Cape Verde at 6. Shout out to all my people in Brockton. And New Zealand and Egypt will kick off at 9. Wyndham Clark, currently your leader in the U.S. Open, but Sam Burns making a chase as we speak. We'll keep you updated on that around 5 o'clock with our next check of the headlines. But these headlines were brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com for 15% off your drive-through oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub, Boston Home for Sports. I'm Kendra Middleton, and your next update is at 5.
Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5, the Sports Hub. Boston Sports. Yeah, we got that covered. 98.5, the Sports Hub.
All right. Welcome back. 90 seconds, no commercials. As I promised, before we go to our 3 down, and then we will get to your phone calls. As Colin said, big ups to the tight end depth chart. My first down is going to be Hunter Henry. I am very much in agreement with you that there has to be some tight end movement up this depth chart. Hunter Henry has been awesome. He's been a security blanket for pretty much every quarterback for the Patriots that he has played with over the last couple of seasons. Consistent and underappreciated at times, Hunter Henry has been. He is, whether they needed him to be a receiver or a blocker, he did it all with no complaints, but he's getting older. He's getting up there. And with new options in the offense and the not so much need for him to be the security blanket that he has been over the last couple of seasons, I think that bodes for him to quickly become a down on this roster, but it's more so the age over anything else for me. I would like to see them add some depth to that position because I think more than any other position over the last couple of years, you could argue running back, but I think tight end in the last decade has been the position to change the most. And sure, a lot of that has come along with, the tight end and the Travis Kelce and everything like that has kind of changed this position, but it's more so moved into a position that, I hate to keep using the word security blanket, but it's been one of those positions that has been that for young quarterbacks throughout the league. And I think that the position is changing more so from this blocking type of position to more of an elevated receiver who can go up over secondary and catch a touchdown or catch an important pass or anything like that. We see that with how the Detroit Lions have run their offense over the last couple of seasons. And now the Buffalo Bills are doing something with those two tandem tight ends that they have up there. The tight end position is changing. And I think that if the Patriots want to continue to evolve this offense, that's something that they're going to have to highlight and get on board with. And right now, I don't think that they have the tight end room to do that. I think that that's probably what they originally hoped to do when they brought in Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith a couple of years ago, was kind of try and chase that style of offense. And I think that that's something that absolutely needs some love on this roster, and we could probably maybe see some changes, or hopefully your guy Raridan coming up through this offense and making a big difference. So I do agree with you there, but Hunter Henry, my down for that reason. I think my biggest down, the most obvious, like I said, I do have 4 because I don't want to include a coach in this conversation, but I feel like we have to just because of everything that's gone on in this offseason, has to be Mike Vrabel. Okay, this was a lights out, knockout, home run of a hire at the beginning of last year. There was nobody in this town who was complaining about this hire. Maybe there were like 1 or 2 of you, but you were not the majority by far. And so quickly, that has all come crumbling down for a lot of reasons. And it's not that I don't think that Mike Vrabel is still the coach that he was last year. It's just how much of an emphasis is there going to be on the distraction or his family needing him or all of those types of things that we saw maybe going on with the draft. How much is there going to be coming out more in these situations or news-wise or whatever? It is, at the end of the day, a distraction. And when your head, I think that there's clearly two positions that where distractions in their lives affect your team. It is your quarterback and your coach. And depending how much time or mental stress or fatigue or family time or whatever is going to be ailing him in this offseason, how as a person does that not affect you at work? Like, think about when you as a person are working on yourself to become a better person, how hard that is, let alone trying to be in a head coaching position where your job is to better other people. And I don't think that you can give your best to other people when you are not at your best. And that means pouring into your own cup, whether that's, your own workout routine, your family, your mental health, whatever you're taking on in your own life. Unless you're pouring into your own cup to a point where it's overflowing, how can you expect to pour into other people's? And that's kind of my concern with this whole Mike Vrabel situation, like I'm sure it is with everybody else. My next down is going to be Ramondre Stevenson, which we have already talked about. I think that just because of the narrative and him getting older and Travion needing to touch the ball more for this offense to be successful, obvious down. And then my other obvious down here is going to be Will Campbell. I feel really deeply for the kid because, his entire time here in New England, while it has been short, has been difficult. Last summer he had to deal with every single station and every single newspaper talking about him having T-Rex arms. And then the last thing that we see of you for the season is going out there and having a historically bad performance in a Super Bowl at your position. Once again, I worry about the young kids and their ability to kind of rebound or bounce back from those situations. I hope that they're staying off of the internet. I hope they're staying offline. They delete social media, have, whoever run it for you if that's like something that you monetize or you have money coming in, because I think that's something that this generation of athlete is dealing with that prior generations didn't have to, and that's just how much hate you get online, whether you're awesome or you're awful. Like, people are always going to have something to say about it, and I'm sure that there's nobody beating themselves up harder than that performance than him, but it was bad and inconsistent throughout the season for sure. So, and now you have someone coming in who seems pretty adamant about wanting to play your position. Unless he really is taking his mental health seriously, I worry about, just these young kids and being able to kind of survive the onslaught of everything going on the internet and just not beating yourself up and getting into that hole. So I'm going to go with Will Campbell for my final down. Before we hit a quick break, I'm going to hit the phones again to hit James in Franklin, who has a Father's Day sports story. Hello, James. How are we?
Hi, good. How are you?
I am good, thank you. What you got for us?
So I think it was 2020. I was at a Celtics game with my dad. They were playing the James Harden, Russell Westbrook Rockets. And Jaylen Brown hit a three to send it to overtime. And, yeah, the Garden exploded. And I'll never forget it. It was awesome. It's a great moment.
Amazing. I love that. Thanks so much for calling and shouting out your dad. Have a good one. If you would like to call in and brag about your dad or your favorite sports memory with your dad or your favorite sports memory being a dad, please do so. Or like I said this entire time, if you're a kid and you want to give your dad a shout out on the radio, 617-779-0985 is the phone number to do so. Our next segment is going to be taken from the Joe Show. I believe, Colin, did you come up with some this or that? All right, we're going to do this or that. When we come back, like I said, if you want to give us a call, 617-779-0985 for anything Father's Day. I'll take any calls you guys want to call in about anything. I'll take it. Food, World Cup, whatever. We're watching Belgium and Iran right now. The second half just kicked off. I'm all over the World Cup, so if that's something you guys want to talk about, please call in about it. If you want to call in about all the crazy Scots or the English coming to town to ruin the vibe, do it. I will see you on the other side. This is Kendra Middleton on the Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
I cannot believe Iran has withstood the barrage of this Belgium offense for this long. They even scored, but it was recalled. I don't know why, because I was talking, but I saw it happen. If just some of the upsets in this tournament have been so insane, the goalkeeping from small countries has been awesome. This is probably, and I'm not just saying this because it's here and I'm having a great time and going out every night when I shouldn't be, but just this has been the best opening round of a World Cup that I can remember, and I know that that's probably selfish to say, but it has been just so electric. I mean, and I'm so happy for all the Cape Verde fans in Brockton. It's been a really good time, and to watch some of these smaller countries show up, show out, not just on the pitch, but their fans, has been so fun. And I think that this country needed this more than ever, not just from like a global propaganda situation and kind of like a good word about the US out there, but this is just the most united that I have seen us be, not only just as a Boston community, but as a globe. Just the only people that hate us right now are the Australians, and I don't even know why they're mad at us. I didn't know we had beef with them, but people on Australian Twitter are so mad at the US after yesterday, and I don't get why. I think my favorite meme I've seen out of all of this is that like it feels that like the US is having a sleepover with all of their cousins whose parents hate each other, and we're finally all getting to hang out, and that feels so real. For those of you that don't know, I went to the Norway-Iraq game on Tuesday, and it was just such a cool mix of culture, seeing Norwegians there and Iraqis there and Americans, and it's been a really good time. And I have to say that getting in and out of Gillette for a World Cup game was 10,000 times easier than getting out for a Patriots game. So they've got it going on down there. The security, all the police, everything has just been, at least from my perspective of someone who has gone to one game, elite. I hope that whatever they're doing, they continue to do for the Patriots season, because it was so easy to get in and out of there. I'm genuinely impressed. So I just think as a country, we needed this, and it's been really good, not just from a global scale for Americans, for the world to know that we don't all suck. But this has been good, and it's, I think, some PR crisis management that the U.S. needed, and I'm excited for everyone to get here, even though I think the English people are about to ruin our vibe. Before we went to break, I misspoke, and we are actually doing in or out, and not this or that. We're doing this or that from the midday show. Next segment, we're going to do in or out now. Colin came up with them. My hair color is still naturally blonde because I mixed the two of them somehow, some way. So, Colin, do we have music? Do we have Joe Murray's in or out music? Can we get it? I feel like we have to have it on in the background if we're going to do this. I thought about doing Maz's Tears, but I got asked to do this shift yesterday at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon because Matt McCarthy was sick, which I love Matt McCarthy. He's one of my best friends at this station. I do, however, think that Matt McCarthy has the immune system of a toddler, because I think every time that I hear that Matt McCarthy has something going on, he's sick. I remember he got COVID, like, was it Christmas or something like that a couple years ago? Matt McCarthy always sick. We need to up Matt McCarthy's immune system. You can't be that tall for no reason and have a bad immune system, which Matt McCarthy is that tall for no reason. He has not, I don't think Matt McCarthy is very athletic, which once again, I'm still asking for a Sports Hub combine. So I need to make that happen, which I think sneaky, there are some people that would surprise you in that, but that is a topic for another day. Do we have music?
All right, I don't think this is the right music, but
okay,
we're going to give it a shot.
Okay.
Those people, they bring their lunch, and they put the lunch boxes in the fridge. Keep it cool for whenever they're going to eat their lunch. Zoe, in recent weeks, has taken a problem with all the lunch boxes in the fridge. So I want your opinion, in or out lunch boxes in the fridge.
I just don't know what people are supposed to do if they don't have them. Like, are you supposed to... are we bringing back brown paper bags because they take up less space?
I think that's what he wants. I think he wants people to bring their lunch boxes and take the food out of the lunch box and put it into the fridge.
Okay. I love Scott Zolak. I share a microphone with him, and it's the only issue that I have with him. However, I think that this is quite rich coming from him for a couple of reasons. One, he has lunch catered here pretty much every single day of the week. Like, there is always a food drop.
Yeah, they're usually like 2 or 3.
Always a food drop for Scott Zolak, whereas like the sales team and you and the interns and those people, they're not getting food drops like Scott Zolak. And two, I think that I could respect this more coming from, like, actually, you know what, literally anybody else, because you are the, love you to death, messiest person in this studio. With the, outside of Fred's shrine over here, you have the most crap in this studio. Between your 2 bottles of lotion, your long metal spoon to scratch your back, and all of the other crap you leave in here, I love him to death. However, I would respect this coming from anybody else. Do I agree with the movement? Yes. Am I out on how it's starting? Also, yes. Did anybody clean the microwave yet? Because the last time I was in here, I had to complain about how disgusting that microwave gets and how because I won't use the microwave here, I will not eat here. Because the microwave, I think, has like radioactive bacteria growing in it because it is so disgusting and nobody wants to clean it.
I think it's just permanently like that.
Can we just buy a new microwave? They're like $50.
Probably should.
Like, I will buy us a new microwave. I'm not even joking. That thing is disgusting. I think we need to create, like, actually, this would be good for us. What if all of the stations came together and we made like a chore board of like, okay, it's this person's turn to clean the microwave, this person's turn to clean out the fridge, this person's turn to clean out Fred's shrine of crap over here that looks insane on NBC Sports Boston when I'm watching, because it's like you have just the most random display of things over here ever. It's like a hoarder situation over here. Like this, do you ever watch NBC? I love Fred. I love everyone that works here except for like 3 of you. I love all of you. Even the people I don't like, I love you anyways. But like, this is a hoarder situation.
Definitely.
Like this needs some TLC. This looks like crap on NBC Sports Boston. There is a Jesus piece hanging above a plastic owl. Why?
It's like a set. Gives it some character.
Someone on the YouTube chat is asking me to post a picture of the inside of the microwave, and I think that I might have my Twitter account revoked if I post what bacteria is growing on there, because it's probably like a NASA lab on the low.
I feel like it's a bad look for the station.
That as well. I think Mary might kill me. Oh my gosh. This game, if you are not watching Belgium and Iran, is unbelievable. The goalkeeping from these small countries is just outstanding. And I think that that's part of the reason that I think that this tournament has been so good, is because these goalies are just putting the entire nation on their back. I have chills right now. Okay, next this. In or out. Not this or that. In or out.
Yep. All right. Going back, this is something I've been seeing on Twitter a lot. Taylor Swift's wedding at Madison Square Garden. Are you in or out on a wedding at Madison Square Garden?
Okay, I am out on... Okay, let me ask you this before I answer this question. Are you tinfoil hat? Do you think that they actually like each other?
Yes.
I don't know, to be honest, because like her entire career, she's given the like, oh, I'm not like other girls. Like, I'm just so different. I would never date a football player. Blah. I'm going to date Maddie Healy. And now she's like marrying one, which like, fine, cool girl, run off into the sunset with your football player man. But that your entire brand has just been so anti that it like disgusts me in a way, because she just has always acted like she's like the cool, quirky, like New York City, whatever type of girl, which like, fine, chill. You have your cats. Like, that's cool. But like, I just feel like she's been anti that type of girl. And that has nothing to do with this. She just makes me angry. And for that reason, I'm not a Swiftie. I'm sorry. I think she's so talented. She's a talented singer. She's a talented songwriter. She is talented at getting the media to talk about her with all these countdowns on her website that I don't care about. However, I saw that they like canceled maybe some Rhode Island thing that they had, and now a wedding at Madison Square Garden. I'm going to say out, just because I don't think it's a wedding venue, and the whole point of this, billionaire wedding is going to be the photos and this is what they spent their money on, and this is their beautiful venue that all of these crazy rich celebrities went to. How good of photos and content and recap can you get for the like Swifties online who really care about this from MSG? Like, it's just so specific to a sports and concert venue. I don't know how you pull off a wedding in there unless you just like gut it.
For someone who has pretty much unlimited money and could do it anywhere in the world, I just feel like doing it in an arena that's going to be empty. Unless you invite 17,000 people to your wedding. It's a weird move.
It's weird, and I just think the pictures are going to be awkward and ugly, and that just doesn't fit her curated vibe. Because that's what, like, her vibe is so meticulously curated. And I think it just makes sense for me for them to get married somewhere like coastal New England with like 200 people in front of them. And that's just the vibe. Once again, this goaltending for Iran, I'm losing my mind. I know that if you are listening to this, you are probably not watching. However, it's just so nuts. Like, did you just see that play? Crazy. So fun. But yeah, I'm going to say out on MSG. How much do you think that would even cost? Not that they care, and it's probably pennies on the dollar.
There was a report out there of how much it costs to rent out Madison Square Garden for a night. I'm not sure exactly what it is.
You know who the biggest secret Swiftie at this station is? Mike Felger. Yeah. Secret Swiftie Mike Felger. I'm happy if they're happy. I'm happy if anybody is happy. I'm confused because her vibe has never been this, and now all of a sudden she's like Mrs. Football. I don't know. It's just weird.
I think it's $1 million to rent out.
That is not as bad as I thought it would be at all. That is pocket change to them. Do we think that this is actually happening? Like this? Is this confirmed?
I don't think it's confirmed, but I think it's like heavily rumored. I think like the New York mayor was talking about how it was going to be like an event in the city.
Where else could it be then? You know, like it'd have to be MSG. I just hate that. I think the pictures are going to be heinous. And she's not going to get this like grand entrance with her probably 30-foot long veil. I don't know. Everything that I've pictured. Maybe it's so her cats can be there. I don't know. All right, what do we have next?
All right, I got one more. This was from a This or That with Zolak and Bertrand earlier this week, but I'm going to turn into an in or out.
Okay.
They were talking about weekend getaways or kind of week-long, 2-week-long vacations. Would you in or out on weekend getaways over, say, 2-week-long vacations?
Okay, so for my personal lifestyle and my work schedule, I am a quick weekend person because I have hacked the PTO system, and that if you pick a holiday weekend and you're going abroad, this probably doesn't work the same if you're staying in the US, but you're trying to hit if you live in New England, it is the same flight time, give or take an hour from California to here, or whether you go to like some coastal European country. So I'm very much in on those types of things. And flights leave the country usually like 8, 9, 10 p.m. So if you take one of those out on a holiday weekend on a Wednesday night, you land Thursday morning wherever you're going, because it's give or take 5 or 6 hours that you're adding from your flight time. So you land in the morning. Let's say you're going to England, Portugal, Scotland, Ireland, any of those types of places. You then get Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday off. You can come back Monday night or Tuesday, and that way you're only taking off technically 2 or 3 days, depending on how long you want to stay. You can take 7 of those types of trips with the type of PTO we get in the US here. I've hacked the PTO system. Even if you're not getting that Monday off, you can still do those types of trips with minimal amount of PTO taken. And if you don't have kids or a wife or a husband or whatever, even if you do, take them with you. Who cares? That's how I've hacked this. So I'm going to go weekend, even though it's very much like bus, club, another bus. Get it all in. As opposed to taking 1 vacation or 2 vacations a year if you're taking a week or 2. I think you can see more things, go more places, and do more things, unless you just really need to lay on the beach for 2 weeks. And
last year with my family, I went to Italy for 2 weeks almost. And by like day like 10 or 11, you get like pretty sick of the people you're with.
Yeah, I don't travel with my family, so I don't deal with that. But I will say, when I was in Africa, I was having so much fun. We were there for 2 weeks. It was great. But by the time it was time for us to come back, I was like, all right, I need air conditioning, ice, the ability to drink tap water, and eat fruits and vegetables again, please. Like, whenever you go somewhere abroad for that long, like, I know that it's nice to experience other cultures and stuff, but we don't realize how good we have it here with air conditioning.
The AC's the big thing.
AC goes crazy. And I will say, I'm glad that Americans are experiencing this World Cup right now and seeing... Sorry, I have the hiccups. All of these like Scottish people coming over here, and they're like, wow, how much PTO do you guys have that you're just able to come spend a month here? And everyone's like, oh, we get at least a month off. We should start pushing for that. Can we bring out the guillotine? I'm serious. We as a country need to take our lives back into control from this system. There was a red card just now. What just happened? What did we miss? Against Belgium. Holy crap. This is getting spicy. I won't blame you if you turn me off and put this game on right now after that. But we need to start taking our time off more seriously. We need to live less for work and live more to live. I think that is a big thing that we can take away from this World Cup, is that we don't get a lot of the privileges that other countries do to live our lives. We live to work instead of work to live. And I think that we need to take that away from this World Cup as a society. And that would be my number one thing that we need to take away. What is your number one thing? Have you learned anything about us as this World Cup has gone on?
No, not really.
Have you been out at all?
No. Well, I was in Cambridge last week.
You got to go out for these games. Yeah. You haven't even watched the USA out?
No, I'm not. The game was on Friday at 3 p.m.
Okay.
That's a hard one to do.
Quick plug. I am doing a party with the Sports Hub for the USA game on Thursday at the Dubliner. I think I convinced Alex Barth to come. Actually, we can muse while we're doing this quickly, because Barth left me hanging on Friday night. Very badly. I was texting Barth all day after the USA game, and I was like, come out. I'm in Seaport, and he was also out. He was like, okay, I'll come out. And then was like, yeah, never mind, I'm going to go home. And I was like, okay, fine. I'm sitting in Lucky's lounge, and I get a text from Barth, and he's like, my phone's going to die before I can get an Uber. And I was like, okay, I have an external battery that you can borrow to charge your phone. Come to Lucky's. And he was like, okay. And his phone died, and he got a cab home. And I waited for him for an hour and a half in Lucky's for him to use my portable charger. And he didn't come. And I took this up with him today while he was here and said, you owe me. Come to the Dubliner on Thursday. So I think we should all collectively bully Alex Barth into coming to watch USA at the Dubliner on Thursday. And you should come as well, because you deserve to experience this. And everybody else, come to the Dubliner with me and the 98.5 The Sports Hub street team to watch the game on Thursday. And that is my plug for me being at the Dubliner. Okay, good job. I liked that. Let's hit a quick break. When we come back, I will come up with a this or that. And yeah, that's going to be our final segment of the show. We're going to do this or that. If you want to call in on your favorite sports memory with your child or your father for Father's Day, please do so. If you want to go back to our Mount Rushmore of foods that foreigners should try while they are here doing some tourism stuff for the World Cup, you can also do that. Even if you just want to call in and talk about nonsense, I will take your call for our final segment, 617-779-0985. You're listening to the Sports Hub and Kendra Middleton. We'll be right back.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Commuting to Quonset? Ride Ripta's Quonset Express and skip gas, parking, and traffic. Save money.
that I would like to do, and I will get Colin's opinion on them as well. I think I have 4 or 5 of them. So we can lightning round these to mix in some other shows. Maybe not lightning round. We've got plenty of time to kill. However, my first one, would you, this or that, your favorite team never winning a championship but getting to play all of their games at home, or win multiple championships but only play their games on the road? This one really stumped you.
This is hard. I think I'd go championships on the road.
Never getting to watch them play at home.
I think so. I just think the championships mean more.
They do, but like, you can't go to any of their games either. You have to watch all of them at home on your couch.
Yeah, that's all right. Sacrifice.
You're going to sacrifice for the team. I honestly, as a Jags fan who have never seen my team win a championship, but still get to go to the stadium and celebrate with all of my friends, I think I'm going to be on the opposite side. I think sucking together is better than sucking alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but if you're winning the championships when you're alone, is that,
Okay. All right.
it gives it some positives.
Would you rather only eat Chipotle for the rest of your life or Chick-fil-A for the rest of your life?
Is the Chipotle like, you know how like you'll mobile order Chipotle and like the burritos will be smaller than like if you were in person? So like, is the Chipotle like quality Chipotle?
No, you don't know what kind of Chick-fil-A or Chipotle you're getting. It's a gamble.
I'll go Chick-fil-A.
Me too, because I feel like you can do more with Chick-fil-A's options because they do like the soups and the salad and like the grilled nuggets and stuff. I think after eating Chipotle for like a week, I would be sick of it.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing.
I was going to say, you can't really switch it up as much, which I guess you're only eating chicken, but like you can do more with the chicken than you're eating, and you get like a cheat meal that you like actually want out of it. Like when I want a cheat meal, I don't want like Chipotle queso. You know what I mean? I want like fried chicken. So I'm with you in that one. Okay, next. Win one Super Bowl in your lifetime and never make the playoffs again, or make the playoffs every single year of your life but never a Super Bowl.
I think make the playoffs every year of my life.
Me too. I think I'm in lockstep with you on that one as well. This isn't as hard as I thought it would be. Maybe I'm too mean to Tim McCone about this.
It's hard coming up with this or that.
I did this during a commercial break, though, to be fair. I didn't have a full 24 hours to think about it. All right, final one. Would you rather only be able to take public transit for the rest of your life, or live over 2 hours from everywhere you have to be on a weekly basis without traffic? So like work, your kids' school, the grocery store, everything.
How quick is the public transit?
Normal T. Like let's say you live in like Medford or Malden, and that's your commute everywhere you need to go.
But then when you drive, everywhere is 2 hours?
No, you just don't have to. You don't have to drive anywhere ever. You like everything you need is in the city.
I do public transit.
Me too. Yeah. There are people out there who probably are like, I don't want to be in the city ever for any reason, but I'm not one of them. All right, let's take your calls. We've got about 9 minutes left here. Let's go to Rajiv in California on the World Cup. Hello, Rajiv. How are we? Did I say your name right?
Close, yeah. It's hard J sound, Rajiv, like a Jeep.
Okay, cool. What's up?
But I've had friends that have known me for years that call me that. Anyway, I just wanted to talk. First of all, so glad to hear you. Last time I think I heard from you was before you went on your Africa trip, and you went to Namibia, right?
I did for 2 weeks. It was awesome.
I'd love to hear about it sometime. So I don't know. Is this the first time you've been on the air since that trip?
I had my Saturday show the last 2 weeks, but
what time is that on? I'm on the West Coast, so what time is that on?
5 o'clock for you, my friend. But it is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your stuff. You can listen to me there. And I did a bunch of recaps over on Instagram if you are on the interwebs.
Oh, okay, got it. So yeah, I never heard about your trip, so I'd like to hear about that sometime.
Yeah.
But in terms of the World Cup, sort of being way out here, I sort of feel isolated, right? And I wasn't getting that much into it. But then listening to you guys talking, and I have to actually shout out Matt McCarthy for mentioning about like going online, because just simply doing a simple Twitter search for like World Cup fans or Boston, and then I saw everything starting from like last week when you had that guy from Wakefield, Boston Mike, I guess they're calling him, who said about the Tartan Army that checked into the Airbnb and were playing the bagpipes at 6:30 in the morning. And then, there's several different matches happening around the country, but whenever I'm watching the national news, they're always showing Boston because of the Tartan Army. So shout out to Scotland. Like you said, I've never watched World Cup before, aside from women's. So having it here and having it, first of all, like Felger would say, not behind a paywall and freely accessible has been great. But just the Scottish fans, it's like, as you said, it's the thing that brought everyone together, and just seeing everybody have such a good time. And they are fantastic. So it's a place I never, I always heard it's like Scotland's beautiful, but after seeing the Scottish people and the way they party and drink, it's like now it's kind of a bucket place to go. So shout out to that. And also when you're talking about the unbelievable goaltending in the city that's happening around the games, the goalie for Cape Verde, who's 40, the second oldest one. So before the match, he had 48 to 50,000 followers. Immediately after that, he had 7 million, and he's gaining more than 1 million plus each day. And today, right now, it's at 15 million. And I also heard the story about his
mom,
mother, who
his mom coming to town. So
yeah,
cool.
She wasn't able to go because they were asking $15,000 for the visa, and so she missed that first game. So she's coming in. So I just love the stories. But shout out to all the fans. And as you said, we definitely needed this, right? Because the way the situation is in the world, and just seeing everybody partying and having a good time everywhere, and especially, as you said, the European fans discovering American food, right? Whether it's Chick-fil-A, ranch dressing, whatever. It's been phenomenal. So it's been a blast, and I'm actually sort of caught up in that. So, yeah.
It's been super fun. Thanks so much for the call. You can call back anytime. You were awesome. I agree with everything you said. Let's go to Joe, who wants to check in on my fish tank. I actually have some exciting news about my fish tank. Hello, Joe.
Hey, Kendra. Hey, before I get to that, the story you said earlier, when you were about your dad and the car and stuff, this business you're in, it's not an easy business to get into, especially for females. I mean, you got to know your sports. You got to bring it. You have to have an A game and be ready. And you've got that. And you're the only female I know that knows her gambling like you do. And I don't know if I'm out of line in saying this, but you're a pretty cool chick.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice of you.
Well, you had Blind Scott on earlier, and I get up pretty early sometimes, and Ben Mallard's on, and I'll hear him for a couple of hours. You could replace him in a heartbeat. So I'm sure you've been approached nationally. You probably won't say it, but I'm sure you've been approached nationally. But anyways, no, your fish tank, and there's a reason I'm asking. Do you have seahorses in it?
No, I don't. Seahorses are actually one of the hardest, aquatic things to take care of, which is why I don't have them. They are so particular about their environment. Otherwise, I would love to. However, I did get a notification while we're sitting here that I did have 30 more shrimp delivered in my mailroom today.
Well, I know you have a bunch of shrimp, and it was because I watched the show. It's it was the Federales. They were off the coast of Spain, and they were getting smugglers and trafficking and drugs and all that. Then they arrested this poor little guy in a rowboat for catching seahorses. I didn't realize there was a black market for this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's against the law. And that's why I'm I thought you had seahorses. I was going to say, hey, did you buy him off a Spanish guy that looked like Santa Claus? But anyway.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for calling.
Kendra, always a pleasure talking to you.
Have a good one. Thanks. All right, let's go to Dan, who has a Father's Day story in the great state of New Hampshire. Hello, Dan.
Hey, Kendra, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I heard you earlier because I'm on the road here delivering. And I just wanted to shout out to my dad and all the dads out there. And one of the main memories, from my dad and everything, this is probably for a lot of these guys. I don't know if anyone said it or not. If I do, I apologize. But back in the time, back in the day, when the Three Stooges were still on the Sunday mornings, I would always wake up early with my dad, watch the Three Stooges. He's a big reason why I'm big into that. And also sports, too. He also took the time to play hockey and baseball for me after working doubles, long days, Monday through Friday. And I just really appreciate everything you did for me and everything.
Oh, thanks for calling so much. I appreciate the story about your dad. Shout out to the state of New Hampshire. I love that everybody's showing love to the dads today. Let's go to Rich, who has a World Cup take. Hello, Rich.
All right, before I go to the World Cup take, are you still doing the Formula One next week in Austria?
I am on and off for World Cup or for F1 stuff for the rest of the year. I'm not sure my schedule yet just because I'm traveling a little bit, but I can let you guys know when I will be there this season.
And second, with the World Cup with the fans, do you think the combination of the Scottish, the Netherlands, the German fans, it's close to college football vibes here in America? It's I haven't been to a college football game outside of BC myself, so I want to know, is it just as crazy of fan bases, the Southeastern Conference, per se. My only witness of seeing the European clubs is from wrestling, and those French and English clubs are crazy.
Yeah, the English are really crazy. Thanks so much for the call. I was saying earlier that I am worried that they are going to come mess up our vibes with the Scots. Just because I love partying with them abroad because they are insane, but them being insane is, I think, really going to be something to behold here. So hopefully nothing burns down, nothing breaks, everybody is nice to each other between the Irish people in town that just live here regularly and the Scots. We'll see how it goes. But yes, the English are crazy and they know how to party. I don't think that they're going to drink as much as the Scottish people did because they basically drank the city dry. And I saw a meme yesterday that was like beer cans being delivered to Whitehall and it was like reinforcements are here, which is hysterical to me. I saw somebody, and I don't know if this is true, but I saw somebody post that we as a city combined drank 3 times the amount of beer over the last week than we do for like St. Patrick's Day or something.
Yeah, I think it was like the city of Boston did like 3 times the amount of beer sales than they would on like a St. Patrick's Day.
That's so nuts. That is so insane. And people here drink, man, especially for St. Patrick's Day. Because, I mean, St. Patrick's Day isn't as big as having the World Cup in town, but people still fly in for St. Patrick's Day. I was in Ireland last year for St. Patrick's Day, and there were certainly more people and more buzz. But I think our parade here is better. I have to be honest. I was very shocked how much I loved Boston's St. Patrick's Day vibe in comparison to actually being in the motherland. Also, I'm so proud of myself right now. I had to sneeze so bad for the last 3 minutes and I didn't. So big ups to me. This is our last 2 minutes here. So I would like to say thank you to Colin for producing the show today. Thank you for Matt McCarthy being sick for letting me come in and hang out with you guys. Thanks to everyone who called in to share your Father's Day stories. Those were super fun. We have a couple more minutes left in this Iran-Belgium game. It looks like we're probably going to end maybe the same time as this game. But I just want to say, if you have not been watching this tournament because you don't like soccer, I would like to encourage you to do so, because this is probably the last time that something like this is going to be happening in the US for at least like the better part of a decade, if not longer. And it's been super fun. And if you live locally or close enough to get to Boston to be able to go out and enjoy a game, whether it's US, whether it's this England game coming up, whether it's anything like that, even if it's a night game, the city has been so much fun. I would recommend to do so during one of the Gillette games, just because everybody is out and about in town. I've lived here for almost 10 years and have not experienced a vibe like we have going on right now. I literally have chills sitting here talking about it. It's been so much fun and such a treat, and I have to shout out the Scots once again just for being clean and nice and respectful, picking up after themselves, not causing any property damage. I think the worst thing that they probably did was steal a couple traffic cones and put it on statues. I did have someone tweet me, and I do think it would be really funny if for the remainder of the World Cup we put a traffic cone on the Tom Brady statue at Gillette. I think that needs to happen immediately, because that would be so funny. But it's so tall, like how does anybody get up there? Like somebody has to get up there and put a traffic cone on Tom.
Gonna need like a ladder or something.
Yeah, or like a wall of people. Although the cops at Gillette are for real and they might like come after you. I will say the most American thing I have experienced through this tournament was when I went to the game for Norway the other day. The number of undercover snipers on top of rooftops. If you're one of those people that geeks out on that stuff, kind of like I do, keep an eye out, because there are cops, snipers, security, literally everywhere. It's actually insane. And I wanted to talk about the Robert Kraft suing the town today. We just didn't have time for it and didn't get to it because we had other silly things and you guys calling in and all of that. But this security down there is no joke, and worth every penny in my opinion. So that's all I've got for you guys. Thanks so much for listening today. This was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me. Be safe. Don't drink and drive. Enjoy the World Cup. Hug somebody. Tell them you love them. Take care of yourselves. Do something for you. And thank you to all of our essential workers. You guys are the best. And I will see you next Saturday, I think is the next time I'm here. But yeah, have a good weekend. Enjoy the weather. Love you guys. See ya.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Drink a Blue Moon and suddenly everything feels brighter. Probably because it's brewed